Alright guys, for all of you that have had the dreaded yellow light of death on the Sony PS3 and put hours and hours and blood and sweat and skinned knuckles into fixing it, I have the ultimate yellow light of death fix. Matter of fact, it's a little tool that will fix any yellow light of death, and it's a permanent fix too, actually. You'll never get yellow light of death again. A lot of videos out there show that you have to flux underneath the CPU and the GPU, and then lots of people say use a heat gun, people say use a reflow oven. It's all crap. There is a much easier way to fix the yellow light of death, and I'm going to show you that here. First, you have to dismantle the PS3 and take, the disk drive, power supply, strip it down to the main board, which is what you see here. This is the motherboard of the PS3, and you actually do need to flux it, and lots of people use liquid flux. What I do is I actually went to Radio Shack and I bought this non-focusable lid. Anyways, it says non-spill paste, rosin, solder, flux, blah 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 blah. It's from Radio Shack. It's like 13 bucks. It is not liquid form, but you can make it liquid form. Simply grab your fancy Harbor Freight heat gun, turn it on the highest setting possible, and you hold it over the You hold it over the dish, probably a good 7 inches, and just hold it there until you see it start to liquefy. And once you see it liquefy, you go to your medicine cabinet, you grab one of these little syringes that you use to administer medicine to kids, and you deem it necessary for flux from then on out, and never use it for kids again. Anyways, once the flux is liquefied, you simply suction it up into the syringe, and then put your heat gun on low and just kind of go over the board, back and forth, blah blah blah. Preheat the board a little bit, and then you just very carefully squirt the flux, like hold the board upright, and squirt the flux on the back side of each board until you see it come out the other end. And you might have to take your heat gun and kind of go over it real quick again so that the flux stays in liquid form. Once you see it start to come out the other side, then take your heat gun on low and just go back and forth across the CPU and GPU, get it good and preheated, then turn it on to high and kind of focus it back and forth on the CPU and GPU until the flux starts to bubble. Once it starts to bubble, you know it's setting, and then flip your gun back to low and then go over the board and let it cool down. And then after about probably, I don't know, a minute on low, just take the gun off of it. And I got it sitting on a concrete floor. Makes the solder harden faster, and it's more solid, because the whole problem with the yellow light of death is the solder coming up from underneath the two chips. So anyways, after you do all that, you're going to put it all back together. You're going to turn it on, and you'll probably end up getting the yellow light of death again. And once you get that, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but you got to take it all apart again. Strip it back down to the motherboard, which is what we have here. Set the motherboard down on the concrete floor, because the concrete floor is cold, so it cools it down faster. And once you set it down here, you grab your fancy little tool that I have that fixes the yellow light of death, and then you simply go like this. Fixed.